7 days a week, and our job doesn't stop, and for someone to say, we believe in what you're doing, we care about these kids, we're going to commit to $20 a month, as little as that sounds, it really is such an encouragement to know there are people out there that care about this injustice, that care about these kids, and are truly supporting us to save kids' lives. These kids' lives are being saved, and you'll hear some stories tonight that are hard to hear, some lives that were not able to be saved, some tragic stories. And that is why we exist. We refuse to allow children from as young as 8 years old to be sold. We need to have a total rehumanization movement. We need to redefine human worth in our culture. I think some of that is happening. We're talking about human worth amongst people of all diverse scenarios, and humans are worthy of life and love, and freedom. And that 8-year-old deserves that, regardless of what she's chosen or what she's been through. That 12-year-old deserves that. All of these kids that we serve deserve life, and they deserve their childhood back. And to have people in society that say we want to be a part of giving life and giving hope and giving restoration, that's what all of this is about.
Well, you heard it from Kim herself. It is about banding together. It's about being made aware and just getting involved however you can, however small, however large, however much time you can dedicate. There are people on the front lines making a difference on the streets, but there's also ways to get involved any other way. So thank you so much, and I hope it's an incredibly successful evening.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Longtime supporter of Saving Innocence, and this is the 6th gala. 6 years. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've seen happen in those last several years, how the movement has evolved, and how you've seen Saving Innocence really make an impact on the systemic change that's happening?
That was a good question. Yeah, from the first year I hosted, it was just an incredible outcome of people coming to lend their support. Then as it's grown throughout the years, the education of what Saving Innocence is, the issue with sex trafficking here in Los Angeles, and now with that growing, now Kim's out in Austin right now, growing that division over there, and it's a global issue. But you don't realize how big of an issue it is in your own hometown, across the nation, but even here in LA. For me and for the fans out there or anyone who is a part of Saving Innocence, it's the educating of what it looks like for someone who might be in trouble and they want help, they need help, to recognize it and then to step in and do something.
Exactly. It's about being aware of the signs, being able to recognize them, open up your eyes, and also being willing to relate that to somebody that can hopefully make a difference if you just see it out in any kind of everyday situation. Also, this has been a year that we've seen the public involvement in any kind of social issue or any kind of change that's happening amongst humanity. People are speaking up more. People are a lot more electric than ever before. Yeah. How do you think we can see the opportunity to also bring this conversation into that narrative? Because this is one issue we've seen really not necessarily be talked about in those circles.
It's a muddied little pool that we live in as far as what we talk about and where we spend our energy. I wish that we could get away with a lot of the gossip that we're talking about, a lot of stuff that just, we're making it a bigger issue than it is. And really the ones, it's sad.
Saving Innocence Gala with Megan and Kristen and this little bundle of joy. Welcome, and I believe you two are hosting the event tonight. So is there anything, this is the 6th gala, this is the 6th annual one. Is there anything that you guys are particularly excited to reveal tonight or to bring awareness to tonight different than the last few years?
This is my first time even being up here as co-host for Saving Innocence. So for me personally, just being up on the stage to help lead a wonderful group of people towards a better awareness of this is just amazing in itself. I'm usually just sitting there as a regular supporter, but to actually be here and to lead the fight is really awesome.
It's amazing. We appreciate you being part of it. And then how about yourself?
What I really love about it, and something I think that a lot of people don't know, is not only are we saving girls from the situation that's very hard to rescue girls from, because usually they get back into it because they don't know their worth and their value. They're very vulnerable. They think that's all that they deserve because they actually don't even have families. So what I love about it is that not only are they rescuing the girls from the trenches, they're also restoring innocence back to them and redeeming their identity, their value, and their worth, equipping and empowering them to move forward in the world as the women they are created to be.
Exactly. We've definitely seen as this movement has rehabilitated and brought some of these women, as you said, out of the trenches, that they've become some of the most incredible survivor leaders, that they've actually been on the forefront in DC, creating systemic change and really lobbying for lasting, effects towards bringing an end to this issue. So, if you don't mind me asking, as a brand new mama, how has this issue kind of changed in your mind now that you have a little one in the world?
Well, I just think of the word innocence, that this is about saving innocence. And my daughter, she's 3 months old, and she is the epitome of innocence right now. And if I can do anything to protect that, like I said before, restore and redeem it. But looking at her, I mean, she is the manifestation of love. And for people to have that stolen from them, to have their value stolen from them, it makes me nauseous. It makes me sick to think of that ever happening to my baby. So it just gives me even more of a maternal heart towards all girls.
Exactly, and because that's the truth, and that's what Saving Innocence is so corely centered on, is letting everybody know all of these people, all of these children, all of these victims are at their core worthy, valued, loved, treasured, and they are deserving of freedom and of the next step in their life separate from this. So thank you so much for stepping into. We're here at the 2017 Saving Innocence Gala, and we have Jen here, who is a researcher on the subject and has done quite a bit of studying about how it is existing and also how it's changing. So what initially prompted you to learn about human trafficking and child sex trafficking?
I think it started really with youth ministry and ministering to teenagers who had so much and yet so little at the same time.
Okay.
From there, I discovered through their friends there was a lot of just confusion and convolution as to the family breakdowns. There are a lot of kids that can be foster kids even in a typical traditional family. In that they're just neglected, they're isolated, they're abused. And I realized there's a whole plethora of kids out there on the streets and sometimes just held captive.
Definitely. And we've also, obviously with issues like this, the statistics are hard to really grasp onto, A, because they're always changing, and B, because with an issue that is kind of in the shadows, you can only rely on the documented cases. You can't rely on the cases that are never brought to light. So with that constant shift, is there anything that you've seen as far as positive and possible also change that we still need to address, as far as the frequency of this happening and of the opportunity for change?
There's always an opportunity for change. They say change starts within you. And I would say identify the problem by looking in your own backyard first. Talk to a local task force. Speak to congressmen or congresswomen who are already involved with proposing bills or hearing even your bill proposal if you have an idea. Talking to the people who are officials and the everyday people who are putting on nonprofits is going to give you accurate statistics, but also is going to give you an idea of what's happening as an undercurrent, because the statistics are always, to a certain degree, unknown. You can never have an exact poll.
Child trafficked kids, we're going to get a chance to recruit and train families and then place our kids with those families rather than putting them back in some kind of a group home or something like that. It's going to be a game changer.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Of course, 100%. And then, as you said, the team is growing because the need is still there and possibly growing. We've seen that the conversation, that the narrative has gained a little bit of momentum. We've seen it actually be talked about a little bit more, seen groups kind of rising and more entertainment being directed towards this issue. But what do you see as a way of helping shift that need while the awareness is growing? How can we help shift the culture of demand for this?
Well, that's really the key to this going away, is that the demand has to go away. You know, it's sort of good old-fashioned capitalism, supply and demand. If there's a demand, then the market is going to meet the need, sadly. And so there are things happening in the way of laws and policies, and things are getting tougher on the perpetrators. And so I think once that gets fully in place, that'll make a difference. And really what it's going to come down to is a national awareness and a kind of an uprising of the people of this country. And when it gets so uncomfortable, for the buyers, and the punishment gets so severe, that'll make a difference.
100%. And we've seen this season has been one where people are rising up for what they believe in. They're making their voices heard. And this is always at its core an issue of money, but it's also an issue of humanity. And these are people's lives. This is flesh being sold. And we need to make sure that people are aware of what's actually at risk and actually on the table for profit. So thank you so much.